Auburn, South Carolina, Missouri, and Alabama, all in the hunt for a spot in the college football playoff. But can the dominance of the SEC earn them 2 bids in a 4-team playoff? Find out now on CI Shark Tank. Our Sharks today, managing editor Pete Futek and our college football analyst Doug Chapman. And joining us to take the side of the conference is our South Carolina insider, Andy Demetra. And Andy, I'm going to come to you first on this. Tell me why the SEC can get not 1 but 2 teams into a 4-team playoff this season.
All right, Shay, let's start with some logic. The winner of the SEC title game, they're locked to get to the college football playoff. Now, if a second SEC team gets in, more than likely, it won't be the team that loses that title game, but the next highest SEC team to not reach Atlanta, because they can sit back, watch the dominoes fall from the other championship games, and then make their move. Frankly, I think that logic applies to every other power conference. Let's look back at the last 3 years, who that SEC team was and where they were ranked in the AP entering championship weekend. Historically, that third best SEC team has been in golden-shaped pounce after championship weekend, when inevitably a team from the top 5 will lose in his conference title game. And based on what we've seen from the SEC in recent years, how can you expect this year to be any different?
Hey, Andy, I agree, but for a different reason, not just because of the sheer power of the SEC, the conference itself, but in the ACC, if Florida State doesn't win it, a team from the ACC is not going to make it. Florida State's going to be upset. And you take a team like Boise State, they've got their championship game is week 1. Ole Miss, if they win that game and run the table in the Mountain West, they've got a shot. But if those things don't happen, there will definitely be 2 teams, I feel, from the SEC. I'm not sure if it'll be the actual team that doesn't go to Atlanta and maybe the loser of the SEC championship game, but I think 2 SEC squads can get into the college football playoff.
Almost by default.
Yeah.
The basic premise that an SEC champion is automatic, not if the SEC champion has 2 losses or more. Even though we acknowledge that the SEC is the best conference, if its champion has 2 losses or a 3-loss team pulls off an upset, that might be kind of tough. The other big problem is the SEC is really, really good. I don't think you're going to have this 1-loss team just from out of nowhere. I think the teams are going to be a lot better, not as many injuries. I think you're going to have a lot more 2-loss teams, not as many 1-loss teams. And finally, Andy, you quoted a lot of rankings there, a lot of number 5s and number 7s. It's about number 4 from here on out.
Well, I know it's about number 5. I know it's about number 4, but remember, those are the rankings entering the championship weekends, and you got to figure one of those teams ahead of those ranked SEC teams is going to pratfall in their conference title games, while those teams just sit back and wait for the attrition to happen. Now, Pete, you had mentioned some of the parity in the SEC and whether those teams will cannibalize one another. That's always a threat, but South Carolina in the East and with Georgia, and in the West with LSU.
No, I'm done. I'm cutting you off right here. Florida State, Oregon, Ohio State, 1 SEC team. I'm out.
He's out.
Oh, no.
That's fine. But listen, spots are going to be picked now by a selection committee. They're not going to be spit out from a computer model. Perception matters. And we've seen time and again the SEC strong is stronger than your other strong.
And Pete, the reason I do agree with Andy is because if we're looking at how it played out last year, I think Alabama would have gotten into that college football playoff without even having to go to Atlanta. If perception is reality and they want this thing to look strong in year 1, Alabama would have played in, so I got to go with Andy.
Old Barry Alvarez and Tom Osborne in that playoff committee for a reason. Ain't happening.
Few is out. Doug is in. Andy, I'm with you, too.
I'm in, brother.
This is a conference that came 1 touchdown away from their 8th BCS championship game. SEC or bust. I can't believe you're going against this. This is normally your conference.
Politics.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Political Pete.
And Andy Demetra, thanks so much for the insight. Doug, Few, great stuff as always. Well, it is Shark Week in the world, so we are going to do the Shark Tank here on Campus Insiders all week. Be sure to keep it locked right here on CampusInsiders.com. We will see you next time.